Hello, my name is Rylee Ensminger, and this is my senior project. Oh. For my essential question, I chose, how can I successfully bring comfort and community to people undergoing cancer treatment at the Hope Lodge by volunteering with other students? So for my project, I chose the Hope Lodge in Boston, which is ran by the American Cancer Society and is a place where patients, while they're going through treatment, can stay at. It is close to the hospitals in Boston, which during my research I learned were some of the best hospitals in the US. It is free for the patients to lodge at, and it is completely ran by donations and grants. I've also volunteered here in the past, which is why I chose it, because I'm very comfortable with the lodge itself, and I know how events here are run. I chose to host dinners and bring home-cooked meals because I knew this would bring the patients there together and create a sense of community, because they're able to talk over a home-cooked meal, which would be a nice way to comfort them. So I chose this because my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013, so I firsthand experienced what it's like for someone to go through breast cancer, and I wanted a way to comfort people while they're going through this. Also, while she was diagnosed, she got really close with her surgeon and some other patients that her surgeon had worked with, so I was able to get in contact with the American Cancer Society through these people. So I've worked with the Hope Lodge in the past and have done dinners, which are shown right here. And then I also just wanted to give back to something that was really important to me and something that I've experienced before. So I chose my mentor. Her name is Helen Palmer, and she's close with my mom. My mom met her through her surgeon. She has volunteered for the American Cancer Society in the past and has also hosted dinners herself. I also just have a really good relationship with her and just can communicate really well with her. She's also just very inspirational and has loved volunteering and working with the Hope Lodge. She's always just done it out of the goodness of her heart and has never made me feel like she didn't want to work with me or anything. So for my volunteers, I reached out to people I volunteered with in the past because they've always came to me and said that they loved volunteering. And so I put together a Facebook group where we could work together and coordinate the dates and all of the food they could bring. And then I also encouraged them to reach out to other people, other family and friends, to also volunteer with us. So here are the dinners. First, we have here some of the desserts and drinks. I have some of the food items that we had displayed, and then some of the decorations that we set up with. Here's some of the volunteers, and then we also brought some arts and crafts for the patients to talk and do while dinner was being served. And then here's the second dinner. We had some of younger volunteers and more people from the school. And then here's the third one. We had some paintings displayed, which the patients could take home with them. And then just some more of the food options. And then, yeah, here's the dessert table, and here's them painting some rocks over there. So here's what the menus looked like. During my research, I learned that patients like food that was more easy on the stomach because of the treatment and some of the side effects they're experiencing. And then also they just overall liked food that was more home cooked and made them feel comfortable. So then during my project, I did have a few roadblocks because while I was picking the dates, a lot of the Sundays I was looking at, organizations that were volunteering there and hosting dinners had already picked. So this ended up with me picking two dinners that were on back-to-back Sundays. But one thing I realized was that having two back-to-back Sundays meant some of the same patients were there. So I ended up becoming really close with them, and they came to me and told me that they had an anniversary or a birthday the next week. So I decided to cater to that in my next menu. So I brought a birthday cake and an anniversary cake, and I brought balloons and decorations in order to celebrate with them. And after, they came to me and they said that they wouldn't have been able to celebrate that outside of the Hope Lodge, so they really enjoyed it. But then also having back-to-back dinners, I did realize that I was spending a lot of money on utensils and food, and I was also asking my volunteers to. So I decided to put together a Venmo and post it on the Millis Public Forum and just gave an overview of my project and what I was going to be doing with the money. And what I didn't realize is that I would raise $590. So I was able to host my last dinner, which was fully paid for by donations. But I still had a bunch of leftover money, and I decided to give it back to the Hope Lodge because they are ran primarily through donations and grants. So the Hope Lodge connected me to the wish list, which is basically a list of all the items they can't afford themselves. So I decided to buy items off the wish list and get them shipped over to the lodge, which here's some of the items. It's a mix of just like necessities they need, like the gloves, we have some soap, some bowls, some paper towels, but then also just some comforting stuff for some of the patients, like a nice breathing lamp, some pillows, and then like a cute teddy bear to put in the rooms. So the Hope Lodge is very grateful for this. So then I also just want to carry on this project. I reached out to people from different schools, ages, grades, and like had a variety of different people at my project. I also, through my Facebook group, I told them to reach out to their families and their friends in order to get some more people involved in my project. And also asking for donations. I posted on Facebook some of the history of the Hope Lodge and what I was doing with my project, and just wanted to get more people donating and just a bigger audience. And then I just want to volunteer more at the Hope Lodge in the future. That's one of my goals. So I think this connects to the vision of a graduate, because I did have to collaborate with a bunch of other people to put together a group of volunteers and just food that everyone could contribute. I used critical thinking. I put together a menu which would comfort the patients but also be easy on their stomachs, easy to serve. I had to store the food. We had to bring boxes and containers for them to put in the fridge for the week. And then I also had to communicate with Ann Brady, who ran the Hope Lodge, and Helen Palmer in order to pick dates and figure out when everyone was available and which dates weren't taken by other organizations. And then I also used character to host special events such as the anniversary and the birthday, and also just sit down and talk with the patients in order to get to know them and create kind of a sense of community. Also, here's from the anniversary and the birthday. This was the menu we had. We had cake. Like, someone said that their favorite was Oreo fudge, so we decided to bring it for him and his mom. So I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to my mentor, Helen Palmer. She was always someone who I could talk to, and she told me what she found successful and unsuccessful when she volunteered and did her dates. She also provided me with insight, because some people really enjoyed Wegmans chicken or random stuff like that. So she told me after my first date to get to know the patients and ask what they thought would be best at the dinners. Also, I want to thank my volunteers, because during my project, a lot of them, if I forgot like a container to store the food in, or like paper towels or something random like that, a lot of them already had brought it just in case, and they were very good at like having my back. And then I also want to thank my mom, who got me involved with the project, and she got me connected to Helen, and she's part of the reason we volunteered there in the first place. And then also just everyone who donated to my project, because they made such an impact on the Hope Lodge, and I was able to buy a lot of stuff off the wish list with the amount of money we made. And also they cut a bunch of the cost on the dinner that the last dinner that we had hosted. So, thank you.